Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're starting a new project today, the Dulcimer Tools app. It's so new I don't even have my logo up on the top. I'll have to deal with that. But anyway, it's a new application. My daughter's the publisher of a Dulcimer magazine. Dulcimer's a musical instrument. And we had this concept a friend of ours suggested of having a toolkit for musicians. And the goal is, two goals really. We want to support the musicians and we want to build the brand of the magazine and maybe bring in new readers and so on. So the idea is we'll build this little app that has a bunch of tools in it. And I've got lots of possibilities. Not all of these will be done, but some examples are a news, kind of recent events or things like that. First line index. So lots of times if you have a tune, you've played it before, you sort of know it, but you don't remember how it starts. A first line index can help you with that. A tuner, so you can tune your strings. A metronome, just get your steady beat. Chord charts, so there are two kinds of dulcimers. There's mountain dulcimer, it's a lap instrument, and there's hammer dulcimer that looks like kind of like the inside of a piano. Both those have can play chords, and so there are charts for those. There's the notion of alternate tunings. So like if you play guitar, you probably have it tuned E, A, D, G, B, E, but there's also people out there that tune it D, A, D, G, A, D, and lots of other tunings. And same thing for dulcimers. You might play 4 or 5 different tunings in a night, depending on who you're playing with. But there are different things that come with those and understanding that. A practice log to keep track of how you've practiced. I don't know. I've started those several times and never really kept them going. Jam log, kind of keep track of what songs you played and when you played it and, that sort of thing. You might have a song wish list, things you want to learn. You could have theory lessons. You could have some theory practice, which note's higher, You might want to keep a set list. So if you're playing and you've got 20 minutes for your part, well, you might want to write down 4 or 5 songs that you're going to play and keep track of that. Another one, kind of a repertoire tracker. So lots of times you might have the notion that you're working a tune up for performance, and you'd kind of like to know which tunes, have you really learned? They're ready at a moment's notice, or maybe a little warm up would get them back in there. But something like that. And then a festival planner, especially in the summer, but generally all year, there are a lot of dulcimer festivals around. And so you might like to kind of think like, what events are happening within an hour of my house, the next month or something. So I'm sure we'll come up with more. I'm sure we won't do all these, but this gives us kind of a starting point. And we'll start with the news because that's at least some of the branding. And it gives us a place to announce the application. So, that'll be worth it. I think the first line index will be relatively easy to do, but kind of useful. And I think the tuner metronome probably are next. I think the further down you go on the list, the less sure I am that we want this. Okay, so let's see what we can do. I've basically created an empty project. I left the UI tests in. I'm not sure we'll use them. I tend not to so much, and every time I try it anyway, I end up kind of regretting it. I don't know. I don't think life has to be that way, but it's just turned out that way. Okay, and I put in a logo, which clearly is a little small to read. I'm not sure what to do about that. Would get a real artist to do the logo, don't worry. Some of mine are okay, but this one's not. All right, so this is just brand new Hello World that they give you for free. I trimmed out some comments and left these, and I think I marked these as don't execute my UI tests. Okay, so all right. So I think the first thing, I don't know. I think I'll deal with, I want to have a front page that's really just a grid of tools. Later on, when we have more tools, you might have some that are favorites or, different ways to sort them or something. But I think as a starting point, this notion of just a grid of tools is fine. And then we'll start it on the first tool, which is going to be somehow display news. Okay, but we can get this kind of a bare bones thing going for this. That'll be something. All right, and I think I'm going to start with the view. I don't always, but I think that'll be easier here. Okay, and you'd think I'd remember this stuff better, but um, there is the notion of there's one of the layouts that just is it grid layout that just puts stuff in where they fit. Um, let's try that. Oh, quick help, grid layout. Okay, I'd never leave it on that button. Okay. If you don't need a conditional layout, use a grid instead. I don't know what a conditional layout is, so perhaps I don't need it. A grid with a collection of grid rows. Well, that's not what I want. Ugh. I keep threatening, I don't know, whenever I find free time, I guess. I want to do this thing that's just kind of all the views and like just kind of, I call it a zoo, show me all these views and what they can do. I know I've seen, well, let's hit the documentation already. Switch UI, apps, scenes, windows, views. I don't know, call it container views. List, tables, view groupings. Group section for each subview. That doesn't really help too much. Scroll views. What's the other one? Is it a list? Well, I could go with a grid layout, I guess. I don't know. It's so silly. I'm struggling on this. Group section. I took notes on that zoo thing. I should dig those out. Well, let's stick with the grid. I have to have a grid row. I thought there was one I could just tell it, like, start putting stuff out there and it would know. I would set up some sort of layout or a description. Okay, let's do a little search. Lazy grid. Well, lazy grid's just a grid, right? He's. Well, let's see what they say. Can't find it. Is it like a lazy V grid? Oh, well, that's not bad. I mean, can I do that with grid columns? I don't know. Yeah, I want a grid. I don't even need different sizes, I don't think. I just want little, little semi-rectangular or squarish, rounded square icons, one per tool is all I'm envisioning here. The thing with grid is, though, it seems like I have to break it into rows and that's weird. He had documentation a minute ago. I have to tell it the rows and all that stuff. I don't want to tell it that stuff. Okay, the other thing is I'm going to do previews more seriously this time. I haven't done so well on that before. I did some, but I'm not consistent when I extract. I should make a preview and stuff like that. Let's just throw this in grid and see what it comes up with. Yeah, I don't have accessibility labels, so I'm being experimental here. Now I know, I mean, like one of those early, like I can remember doing some sort of exercise and I would just pass in a list of stuff and the layout, whatever that layout was, would just display it across, a wrapping kind of grid. Maybe it defaults to that and I don't really have to do anything. I don't know. Yeah, this is going to take a minute. Well, let's look at grid and maybe it'll suggest some cousins. Yeah, he wants the rows. Which, this is weird. I've wanted this sort of thing before. Silly. Okay. Now, I don't know. All right. Well, I guess there's no problem. What if this is, well, VStack, it's just going to lay them out vertically just like this, I think. HStack. I mean... Well, why am I worrying about stacking when I don't have a single tool yet, right? Because I'm that way. Okay. Is it an icon? Oh, golly. There's an entity that is an icon plus its title. Label. That's it. Okay. Let's do a label. Title. And icon. Okay. So title is news. What is title? Do I have to be text? Okay, let me turn this help back on. I take a week off and like what little there is gone. Label. Okay, maybe that would work. Hey, Tukes, welcome. Could I just adapt it with a minimum width and maybe a max width? Yeah, that adaptive kind of idea is what I want. Okay. And then what's in the label? Convert text to title. Is that? Okay. I don't think. Okay. We'll just have to go look in actual documentation. I don't know why that was coming up before and isn't now. Right. So label, title, icon. Title goes to title. Well, that's a thing, no? Oh, title's a view. Okay. A label. An icon colon icon. Title key and an image. Okay, that's probably more like it. It's system image, system. That's not a resource. It's like system name. Oh, come on. Okay, let's see if I can get closer. Oh. All right, I don't think we want this. I think we want that key. And this paper. And I don't know what this is. Incorrect labels for candidate gas system name. Expected Swift name. System image. Wow. Okay, well, that's something. Wow. All right, so there's a label style. Oh, I thought it was a way to get it vertical. Well, those are all horizontal. Label style. How to show text and an icon side by side. Put the parts in a V-stack. Ugh. Okay. Let's do that then. Well, I can make the whole thing a button too. Let's see, there's a system image, action. Action void label. I guess that's what I want. Generates this label for me. System name, okay. I forget how these do. Getting closer. Slow start for a Monday. Okay. All right. That I can work with. Okay. So, what I want... I think I need to put this in a navigation stack. Okay, and then this button, I have some formatting I want. So, okay. Which would seem to be the least important thing right now because it's not doing anything. Well, blanks. Okay. Well, I want to put this in a shape. I want overlay. if I say rectangle, it's more like I want the button to be the overlaid on it. Well, actually, I can probably do that here. Is it? Yeah, I don't think I've done much in that new style. You know, they um, display a detail screen. Okay, that's the kind of thing I want. Navigation link. Well, maybe that is. I know there's ways to do it like based on types or something. Yeah, there it is. Navigation destination. Hmm. Okay, I guess I have to think. Button with navigation destination. Oh, okay. Cool. All right, so let's take this off. It's not working for me. I don't know why, because the frame would seem to like limit it. Okay, so button dot navigation navigation destination. For type, okay, let me pay more attention here. Okay, so we have a navigation link with a name. Destination, the item's name. So I guess that's the contents of it. Yeah, well, there's kind of what I'm doing. Huh. Okay, VStack navigation title. Okay, so I don't need a button per se, I guess, is the thing. Not how that fits in. Okay, well, navigation link, title value. Is it this one? Sorry, I'm just really being dense here. I think the body here is the contents, and then label. Is this part. Okay. And then the contents is news view. I guess we'll start there. Okay, and then I'll make a struct news view is a view. Should have a button set a state which decides which view to show. So is this like I'd have a little enum of all the different tools and then something that maps those to a view, or really? Hey, yeah, sorry. The idea is we're doing an app to support sort of musical tools. My vision of the first page is just a little grid of buttons, each one being a tool. And the first tool we're looking at is news, to just kind of basically display a web page or a markdown or a something. And then we got things like a tuner and a metronome and a chord chart and whatever. My daughter owns a Dulcimer magazine, a magazine for Dulcimer players. And so we had this idea, a friend of ours gave us this idea to make an app specific for it and include various tools that we might want. There's 10 or 15 here. We're not going to do all 10 or 15, but man, I'm having a slow start today. Too much turkey. Okay. Right, so this should go to a new view. All right, that's something. Now I'm going to let this button go away. Focus here. Now, it sounds like there's a better way to do it. But yeah, I think like once we get more than one of these things, we'll make that an issue. Okay, now the real thing is I'd like my button to be I don't know, there's a, well, navigation link or navigation destination. Yeah, right. Yeah, I sort of understand that much. So navigation destination sort of gives a mapping of, I'm not sure what the hashable things are, but it maps those to the various destinations you can go to. I suspect I'll be revisiting and rewriting this at some point, but I think I've got to get forward motion here. Okay. Now, if I want this to be in a rectangle, which I really kind of do, I just want like a little rounded rectangle. I don't know if we're just putting, yeah, I mean, something like that, but then I want that, my contents to be the overlay on that. Fill blue. Yeah. I think something like this. Rounded rectangle. Put this in a Z stack. I kind of was here before, unsuccessfully. Okay, that's getting there. I think with the 100, okay, yes. And then I want to do Um, border. Now, can I do material stuff? I'd like a little shaded border. Let's make this. Is there light gray? I'll fix the color later. Okay. So I can make the whole thing translucent. Well, let's try that. I don't see any difference. Well, yellow would be something. Yeah, it's at least sort of readable. But if I take this out, does it change it? I don't see any change there. Boy, these color choices are not. My accent color may be too light. Let's try moving this down here. I'm just not seeing any difference. So am I missing something? Background. Maybe let's let that go. What I was kind of envisioning was a little like semi-translucent border on it, but now this color is just not. Let's make an asset for this. Get in that habit. Okay, so this is colors, and this is going to be, I guess, tool background color. And we need to add this drop shadow fill. Okay. A gradient shadow. Yeah, that sounds more promising. Okay. I think I get a color picker somehow. Color panel. Okay, this yellow is still too bright, I think. I was thinking of it as a border, but um, I can probably give it a just a slightly darker color border and be okay. Yeah, that I think is okay. So let's go use that. Fill is dot tool background color. Okay. Can't do that. No. Okay. Failed to build. What's the problem? Now, is that weird? This is still a rounded rectangle. It doesn't look very rounded. Oh. Man. Well, the contrast is tolerable. The border... This is dot stroke. Alignment. Okay, well that's doing it. Okay, that can be improved, but at least that's doing something. Okay. Ooh. All right, now this accessibility label. Well, okay. Now I think this can be more like 15. 10 might be a little more subtle. Okay. Well, that'll get us there. Okay, so now this goes back, but really I would like this to be titled. We saw something about that, right? Navigation title is on the item. Okay, that's okay. I'm not sure. I'm not sure this will hold up for everything we want to do, but at least we got some tiny little bit of a framework in. Okay, and this warning should be going away. Yeah. All right. Well, let's push that much. Okay. So create initial front page. Boy. Now, this is, I guess I'm just kind of still exploring what I'm trying to do, but all right, this thing is some sort of tile, and this is a vertical label or something like that. Yeah, let's pull out this as a method for now. Okay, so vertical label. Let's just make this some view. And I really want him to take a title and a system name. Oh, we've done this before. We've seen this kind of stuff before. What's going on? I don't know if I ever really worked out what was going on with it. Let's hide the image briefly. I'm not sure where it went wrong. Okay. It's not the text. Yeah, what's up with that? Maybe returning it some view was wrong. Let's make sure this works. Maybe I'll extract it as a class. But, whoa. Oh, wait a minute. Let's run it. Maybe that preview's going wonky. Is it just a preview issue? Okay, this is really weird. It worked before we checked in. Okay, I'm gonna quit Xcode, I guess. Okay. Preview doesn't like to have multiple views in the same file. That could be, maybe, oh, what was it? No, it worked with News View. I'm puzzled. Okay, so that's back where we were. All right, now I'm going to extract this. Let's extract it to a view. Vertical label, I think is what I want. Yeah, I don't recall that we got to the bottom of it. It just seemed like we undid stuff that seemed to confuse it. But I'm not the best person for that. Okay, so the second view is not hurting it here. Okay, that's cool. Okay. Well. Okay, yeah. We didn't pull with font size today, I don't think, but yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was very touchy about something. Like a little extra space somewhere would fix it. Okay, but this is, well, we're not unit testing yet, but we've extracted vertical label. And I'm doing it in 2 steps because it seems so touchy. Just like this is touchy. And that works. Okay. Import Swift UI. Okay, now here's where I'm going to get make the preview stuff work, because it seems like sometimes you just want to have a little bit of it. All right, and then this is vertical label. Okay, good. Now if I can take the whole thing as a tile. All right, let's take that. Extracted vertical label to its own file. Yeah, I'm not feeling bad about the lack of tests at this point. I mean, fiddling with colors and sizes and stuff just doesn't really lend itself very well either. All right, so now we're going to take the Z stack. All right, and I think I'm going to call this a tile. Welcome, Siva Finn. So we're working on, very slowly working on a little toolkit for musicians with things like a tuner and a metronome and various other things. We're starting off with a little news page, and I have a front page that's going to have tiles with each one a separate tool, and then go to the corresponding page or view when it comes up. And we're doing some refactoring now because we've extracted this stuff. We did it all inline. I'm trying to get it into some more shapely kind of thing. Okay, so my tile vertical. That seems old. Okay, so my tile is put a background in the tool and a label. I guess this tile needs to take the kind of the same thing this does. And right now I'm leaving them all the same color, but that's okay. And so we'll make this title. I really wish I could extract out these parameters coming in. Yeah, I've been working with Swift probably a couple of years at this point. Most of my Twitch stuff for the last couple of years has been Swift. But I don't consider myself super expert at it, and my memory's enough of a sieve that I'm looking stuff up all the time. But But I like the language, and it seems to I can get reasonably good looking things pretty quickly with it. You know, compared to what else I've been in. Um, so all right, so I'm passing these along, and I'm kind of hard coding the sizes and stuff for now at least. But the tile here, let's use it now. And we'll give it a preview too. Okay, so this is tile. And we'll take, oops. That. And so I need one less of these. Okay, well that reads much better at this level. There's a little duplication there about the title. So, okay, that's not terrible. I suspect we'll pull this into its own class at some point too, but let me go add the preview to the tile. I guess I could remember that much. Whoops. Okay. Is there a square icon? Why are you not updating? Well, I don't get it. How is this a preview of tile? Oh, I don't use the names? No, I do. I really don't know what's going on. Unless I've left it hard-coded somewhere. Of course I have. Thought I did this once. I could have sworn I changed that, but that's not worth too much compared to seeing it. Okay. Cool. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I don't think it's hard to get started on it. There's a lot of twiddling when it comes to getting the view just so. The previous project we just finished a couple weeks ago, or at least got to a point, we started doing the work to run on different models and compare landscape and not, and it took a lot of kind of reworking to get that together. I mean, it was a week, but it felt like a long week. Maybe it wasn't even a week, but it just a lot of twiddly work. Okay, but I think we've got a tile, and that's good. All right, so let's see, we extracted tile. And then we still have this news view in here, which is not great. Okay. Okay, cool. Now, oh, I haven't played with Flutter at all. Okay, so now I'm to the point I've got to start making a technical decision. Like, where's this news coming from? Now, for now, maybe this is enough for the moment. I've got to consult with somebody to see, like, where do they actually want to edit this and put it. I don't know if I can just display a little web page here or not. Okay, so yeah, I don't remember if Swift UI did it. Did they ever add support for web pages directly? You used to have to go to UIKit to do it, and I haven't done it in a while. And this is what I think they're talking about. Okay, May, yeah. Swift doesn't have native support, yeah. Yeah, I think everybody does this WK WebView thing, and unfortunately, I don't need to do all the stuff that it does. I don't want browsing history or any of that stuff. Oof. Okay, but unfortunately, I really just need a simple HTML page. I don't know if I could even get somebody to put it in Markdown. Just I guess it would have to be posted somewhere on the internet, on the website for the place, but could be focused, just for this application. Yeah, in general, I don't really want a back end. Certainly nothing more complicated than this one page. Most of these other little tools, they're pretty isolated. Yeah, now that would be okay. Like, jump out to Safari. maybe that's the version we need now. Yeah, either a markdown or a JSON or a web component that can display this thing. Um, so okay, everybody's developing their own little one for this. Why we're in version 18 of iOS without this is that's really unfortunate. Hmm. Yeah, I have to deal with all that. Ugh, ugh, yuck, yuck. I don't want to just update the app. Maybe this just doing this link is the starting point. All right, let's try that. Um, is it almost even here? Well, my real website is this. No, that is the link. Let me run. Yeah, no, I will. I don't know what this link name is. I guess it's the target. How are we doing here? Slow. Okay, so this is going to take me to that, which takes me to that. Um, right. Okay, so this is the front page now, I think. Yeah, I guess that's what it took it to, is the front page. So it's got a little note like, oh, the November issue just shipped, and so on. Um, I think a page that was about that, maybe it's just the like that message seems relevant. These are more just kind of front pagey things, I guess. Um, hmm. But I could see having a separate news page that goes. Well, this one's in an external browser, so I mean, if I look, I'm running Safari and my app at this point, and I can go back to my app, um, and that's fine. Um, I just don't know if I want to do it this way. Hmm. I mean, I'd really like the link to be part of the the whole tile. Yeah, I don't want a navigation link. I just want a link that's on the tile, or is the tile. I don't know if there's a variation that's like that. Link, title key, destination label. Yeah, I think that's the one I want. I'm getting myself screwed up here. Okay. Yeah, I want to open it directly from the tile. So I want this label to be my tile. There's no navigation title, there's no this, and there's no need for a navigation link. I guess I'll have a stack still because I might do it. All right, label needs a do. Labeled block. No, wait. Just link. Destination is URL, label, no, I have to have a name. Well, let's pull it in like this. That ends the link. That ends the stack body. Okay. Hopefully I get a tile that will do this. I guess I gotta run it to see it. Closer indentation. Okay, that should open this. Okay, well that was pretty quick. And then back to it. Yeah, I can live with that for now. In the longer run, yeah, because the problem is that now I'm at this website and I can go, I can go to other websites and all that. I don't really particularly want that, but it's okay. All right, so okay, so this I'm not sure where that would belong. I guess. I mean, do I get to set up supposed to put these things? I don't know if the assets, is there a link asset? Yeah, that might be okay. I know it's strings. This is my story on every feature. I'm like, okay. I've done it, but I don't remember how to do it. String catalog. Okay. File, new file. Okay, okay, that. This is the news page. And it's a little weird to do it this way, but then how do I pull it? String, yeah, localized. Yeah, we may come to something better. Yeah, I don't know what it would be. All right. Let's run this. Okay. Well, the nice thing is we can make a page. Yeah, I don't think static globals are any better. I mean, I was wondering if can you put them right in the project? Like we got all these settings, right? Do you get your own like tags? I don't know what resource tags are. I'll get rid of it now that I've got it. Um, yeah, like this. Type information. I would say usually I kind of start more on the implementation side and drive TDD style with test and refactoring. Um, but this one almost is nothing but displaying, so seemed kind of like, well, let's get some of the physical framework up. But yeah, sometimes I start from the totally front end like this, but I would say 2/3 of the time or more, it's the other way around. Um, okay, well, this is just a question for the Xcode side or the Swift. Where do I put URL constants? I don't know. Maybe somebody will have global constants in a file. Yeah, no, I don't like that. People just create constants. Okay. Yeah, I mean, not unreasonable. Like lots of people put constants in files, apparently. Okay. Well, did I run it after we did that? Okay. I'm gonna rearrange a little bit too. I'll start breaking out a folder here for resources. Okay. Yep. Good. All right. Oh, Eric, welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while. We're working on a new app. There's not much to it yet. It's going to be a set of tools for musicians, so a metronome and a tuner and whatever else. And we're starting with this first tool that's like, give me the news, and for now it takes you to the front page of the relevant site. I think we'll make a new page that's focused on just the news that the app wants to show. But this will get us there, I think. Okay, so I want to make a little resources folder here. And we'll put the localizable strings in there and the assets. Okay. Okay, so we use link to get to web page. Use strings catalog to hold URL, at least for now. I guess there are a couple other tools I mentioned that might need a URL. If you're going to do some sort of festival analysis thing, we're going to have to talk to something to find out where these festivals are and when and so on. Okay. Okay, the news view, well, that's not there anymore. Let's delete that. He didn't do much. All right, we don't reference him, do we? Nope. Okay. Let's just do a build to make sure everything's cleaned out. Yeah, there are a lot of useful components for sure. Okay, so we Good. Okay. Well, I guess I should track this stuff here. So this is December. And this is Introduction to the Dulcimer Tools app. Okay, so we created basic front page with a news. Well, I guess we'll go to that next. Okay. Well, the first lines, Boy, these things tend to be very, like the tuner is going to need access to the microphone and all that stuff, and then it's really painful to do on the simulator. Maybe we'll go to this one. I have some clue what I want to do there. Okay, so I guess I would say that is that. Potential tools, first lines. Let's move this up. All right. Well, let's take a break, 3 or 4 minutes, and we'll come back and look into this first line tool and see what we do there. Okay, welcome back. Okay, so first lines. Let's see. I have a sketch somewhere. Well, I don't think that's going to be very readable. But, so with the Dulcimer World, a lot of groups do basically get together and jam. And jam is their songs most people kind of know, or, they're written in books, or they're relatively popular. You just go around and you each take a turn and you suggest a song, and the group plays it. And you go typically around a circle, or different ways of picking them, but people will suggest tunes and they'll play them. But once in a while you get stuck and you go like, I remember there was a tune called Valley Forge and I thought it was pretty cool, but I don't remember how it goes. And so this notion of the index of first lines is a way to give you this list of songs. So it's data. So did we do something with that before? Yeah, we did. It was a little weird to set up the sound stuff, and you had to run it on, an actual device. So I'm putting that one off. Both the tuner needs to read sound, and the metronome needs to produce it. So both those are going to be a little bit painful. But I think this one will have a little bit to it. All right. So anyway, you've got this list of songs. I guess I could probably just kind of sketch it here, but it might be Angeline the Baker, and that's 01. Well, let's do it this way. Is dun 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 bum 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 dun 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 dun. Okay. So a Dulcimer, do I have a picture handy? No. Okay, so this is a very classic looking one. Let's see if I can find one that I can explain from. Okay. So what you'll notice is there are these frets going across, and sometimes you have wide spaces like here, and sometimes you have relatively narrow spaces. Now the spaces are all getting narrower as you get up the neck. So the space from here to here, these are chromatic notes, these 3 little ones in a row, just like these 3 little ones in a row, these ones are bigger than these. So, because of the physics of strings, a shorter string has a higher pitch. And as you get higher and higher, you need shorter and shorter strings. So, but anyway, dulcimer players, they call it tab, short for tablature. But the idea is you're going to tell what note, what fret is being used. So we number them. 0 is this, the one on the start is called 0. It's the nut is the other word for that one. There's no actual fret there in most dulcimers. There's a little kind of piece of plastic that keeps the strings off the wood. But that's 0, that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5, and 7. So they had that sort of numbering scheme, and so I mentioned Angeline the baker, so that'd be 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, and that would tell you which notes to play on this thing. Now you could just let these two other strings, you would finger the notes on the first string, or the one closest to the melody string. You could let these other strings just stay what they are, and they call it open, and they leave them as drones. So people call it kind of the string bagpipe or something like that sometimes. Or you could find chords that you could build out of these other strings, but typically we just give them melody. Yeah, it really is like a guitar, except, this one has 4 strings, but notice it's 2 of them are together like a mandolin and 3 separate strings. Normally they're basically 3 strings, but there are 4, 5, 6 string ones, and so on. And this is diatonic, meaning it's kind of like the white keys on a piano, as opposed to chromatic, which has all the notes, black or white on a piano. A normal guitar is chromatic. A typical dulcimer is not. Over time, they've added more and more, and that's why this 6.5 is there. It wasn't there before. In the old days, they didn't put the frets all the way across. They just put the fret under the melody string. There's variations, but you mostly just played the melody string and let the drone strings drone. And you didn't have a 6.5, and so there were certain songs you can't do without it. And I have dulcimers with a 1.5, and I know people with a 4.5 as well, and I know people with fully chromatic. But anyway, there's sort of 3 components. One is the tuning. So if this dulcimer, the bass is D, the middle is A, and the melody is high D, is a very common tuning, but you also might play an EAD with E on the bass. You might play in DGD, you might play DGC, there's all kinds of choices. And so one level of this thing is what's the tuning, another is what's the name of the song, and then what are the notes of the song. Now, once you tune it to a particular tuning like DAD, if you strum and only change the melody string with your finger or your thumb or a little stick called a noter, if you're only playing the melody string, you're just letting those other drones just stay constant. But if you go to a different tuning, say I turn it into EAD, move the bass string up to an E, and now my song has an E and an A constantly in it. So it's probably in the key of A, based on the relative position of those notes. Whereas DAD is probably in D. So it gets you different tunings, give you kind of different patterns of notes, because you're starting on a different note in the scale, and so the order of long and short changes. But I will say there's sort of a chord style that you play, usually like your thumb or pointer finger are on the melody, and you're hitting, I could hold down, if I do DAD and I hold down these 2 strings, then it's now E, B. And if I did up here, that's G, so it would be an E minor chord. E, G, B is an E minor chord. I could do chord shapes. There's well, since there's three strings, there's kind of three, um, I don't know, three variations of a given chord. Um, and yeah, so it's just there's just different styles. Do you switch instruments if the song requires another one? Not normally. So in a jam, they would usually like start in on D tunes and then switch at some point. Say, okay, we're gonna play some G tunes for a while, and everybody retune their dulcimer. Or there's a device called a capo that like guitarists use that puts over the strings, and kind of shortens the instrument a little bit. But if you're performing, if you're performing yourself, you might have a couple of dulcimers with different tunings, or you might just say, I was playing in D-A-D, I'm going to tune the middle string down to G, and now I'm playing in D-G-D, and maybe the next song I tune the melody string down to C, and I can play D-G-C for a minory kind of sound. It's there's just a lot of variations in what people do. I was complaining about having to switch tunings at one point. My wife's like, well, you should just get a dulcimer for each tuning. I'm like, thank you for permission to buy 15 dulcimers, because there are a lot of choices. The old style songs, I mean, they're really old style groups. If you're playing with fiddles and guitars and banjos, they like D tunes and G tunes and A tunes, and that's most of it. And then maybe some minor tunes that correspond, and it just depends what group you're with. There's some very modern players that play chromatic dulcimers that almost like a guitar, and everything in between. Okay, the first lines, one of my add-ons is to let you play the actual sound of it, but you don't even need that for the most part. I mean, if I tell you it's 4-5-7, you're gonna put your start. Here's 4-5-7. Once you've done this enough, I mean, there's only eight or nine choices from here to here and nine more from here to here. There aren't that many choices, and you have these orientation things like 3 is right after this dot, and then 7 is after this one, and then plus this, it starts over 10 and 14. So you can know where those dots are, and again, the dots are different between different dulcimers and so on. Okay. So this index, basically those three components we need. I don't know. All you're going to do, none of these are that complicated of stories, I think. But what I want to be able to do is I'd like to have this little database of tunes, and with at least the first line in them. And I need to know the tuning, and I need to know the name of the tune. And I'd like to be able to sort them either by the name of the tune or by the notes. So I might come in and say, this song has been driving me crazy. It's, 0247247 or something. And if I could look it up by those numbers, I would say, oh, okay, I see that's, Soldier's Joy or whatever it is, So both orders are interesting. And then the tuning is interesting because you typically are playing in a given tuning, and which is a little different than the key, but it sort of supports the key. And so normally you'd only want to look in the group that corresponds to the tuning you're in. Okay. Now, I don't know. Again, there's just not that much. There may be, we did a couple of musical things. We did a long one on notation. So there's this notation called ABC notation that puts the notes of songs, and there you would write it, it'd probably be A, B, D, A, B, D, A, B, D, A, B. That would probably get you the right ones. That's what you would write to get those notes. And then something would have to realize, like, okay, this is a dulcimer, and how do you get that note on a dulcimer playing off the melody string and blah, blah, blah. I don't think I want to try and reuse that, but this notion, I should be able to take this and I should be able to turn it into that, or I should be able to turn it into sound. Sound is definitely a bonus. Really, if I just said, "Oh, it's 457, 457, 457," somebody go like, "Okay, 457, 4. Oh yeah, yeah, I get it," and they would know it. Now I could put the whole song and only show you the first like 2 or 4 measures worth in the index. So I don't know where to store them. Maybe that should be, but I mean, I think they're probably going to come. Well, I kind of think this should be a document on the internet, and if we want to add new songs, we update that document, and now maybe it gets stored in a SQLite locally, or maybe we have a representation of this. I mean, I could see if we said, DAD's the tuning title, and then these numbers. Maybe a JSON file would be enough, and just attach it in and interpret it from that. I think that's a reasonable starting point. I mean, this list is not going to update like weekly or anything. It's going to be like, eventually someone will say, I'm playing Valley Forge all the time, and I wish it was on that list. Here's how it goes. What would you do? And we could probably update the JSON, and then release a new version. And that would be adequate for that. Now, if somebody wanted to like write their own songs down and merge them in or something, we could look at that too. But, usually it's just one list, and like a group might share the list. Like I've been to some groups where they have just a little front and back sheet with, like 45 or 50 songs on the front and 45 or 50 on the back. Just, the first 7 or 8 notes of each song and the title, and that's about it. So we have the option to put, the microphone or a speaker to let them play or something. Okay. But I do think another complication, this is mountain dulcimer. There's another kind of dulcimer. It's called hammer or hammered dulcimer. And I mentioned before, it looks kind of like the inside of a piano. I don't know how the images are. Oh yeah, we can go off this. Okay. And I've taken literally 1 20-minute lesson on doing this. So I don't know how to do it really, but, you're holding 2 hammers, one in each hand. Maybe once in a blue moon, somebody might play with 4 just to be, kind of amazing. But you're holding these 2 hammers, and you basically bounce them off these strings, and I forget the tuning, but it's by fifths. So if it were like C, G, D, A, E, B, around, they call it the circle of fifths, going up 5 notes every time. C, D, E, F, G, G, A, B, C, D, and so on. And I don't even remember which side you play on, whatever. But these people play tunes as well. Now, sometimes they just play chords and maybe occasionally melody in there. Other times they're playing melody, just completely playing melody with chord backups on it. And what you learn with this, if you want to know a chord, you have to find the first note, the third note, the fifth note. Kind of. I don't know. I'm not going to teach music theory all day here, but you have the notes of a chord, and there are patterns that say where those notes are going to be. So if I go C, G, well, C is the first note of the chord, and G is the fifth. Somewhere I need an E, and the relationship from C to G to E, bouncing across these strings is going to be the same relationship for D to A to D to A to F sharp, just the way the dulcimer lays out. Now, and I don't know what they do. Like, do they want Do they want their notes more like this? I think they might. They certainly don't want them like this because this is dulcimer, and that, mountain dulcimer has nothing to do with it. So yeah, both these instruments basically are zither based. Um, I don't know. So the basically, I think Middle Eastern maybe kind of where the zither originated. I'd have to be checked on that, um, but at any point, it did kind of make its way towards Europe, and this is kind of one variation with all the strings like that. Um, Guitar. I mean, the word guitar is sort of related to the word zither. It's strings stretched over, stretched over a bridge of some sort. The piece of middle in the middle there, um, and these strings get hammered. The mountain dulcimer gets strummed or finger plucked, finger picked. Um, but they're both called dulcimers. They're distantly related. The dulcimer. Let me see if I can find Scheitholt is an older German instrument. Um, and it's sort of transitional. So you can see a little bit here. They've got 5 or 6 strings, which most of them are droning, but they've got a little fingerboard with 2 strings over it. That's probably, that's not really, oh, I know, I'm going down the rabbit hole here. Um, okay, this is closer. So I got 3, 6, 7 strings, and it looks like maybe 3 are over the frets, but these other ones are droned, and so you can tell this was a much wider instrument, and it got narrowed down to 7 strings in this case, and this has all kinds of variations. But they had frets only under some of them, and so the mountain dulcimer kind of evolved. It went down to 2 strings for droning, and then 1 string with frets, and that was kind of an American evolution. This Scheitholt, as you might guess, is a German name. It means the big log in the back of a fire, because these things are about the same length as a piece of firewood. So I think of it as being backlog. But the American dulcimer narrowed down from these, so they are cousins. All right. So what I'm thinking is, I think there's the notion of a song, and a song has a title, and a song has notes, which can be shown in multiple forms, including sound, perhaps. And the version of a song has a tuning associated with it. Now, for the dulcimer side, for the dulcimer side, the tuning is significant. For the hammer dulcimer side, if you got 40 strings on there, you're not retuning them all the time based on the thing. I don't think they care. So the mountain dulcimer is going to be the harder one in that sense. Assuming, I think you could do this if you told them these notes, I think they would be okay. We don't know. We don't need to show musical notation to get them the notes of a melody. All right. Okay. So there's a song, has a title. That's the easy part. Has the notes and has a tuning. Okay. So I don't know. Do we need something to? Yeah, this is a little tricky. There's just too many representation choices for me. Um, let's make a folder for what do we call this? First lines. Although it doesn't have to be. Um, Maybe this is songs. Okay. Yeah, well, she plays Mountain Dulcimer as well, and she's had a little more experience, had a few more classes in Hammered, so she might know the answer. Yeah, if she doesn't know, we know who does. There's builders that advertise in the magazine and performers and stuff like that. So we definitely have people to ask. Okay, so I'm gonna start. Well, I'm gonna make a file. I guess this is gonna be a song. And I'm not sure I want to write a test for something that's just like, what's the name? The name is what I told you it was. So let's start with this. Struct song. Name of string. Okay, and I think even let. We're not gonna be changing those. Okay, and then I'm gonna say tuning is a thing. And I'm just gonna make it a string for now because I don't have the just to kind of get through the shape of things. Okay, so a song has a tuning. That seems wrong already to me. um, because it's dulcimers that care about tuning. Well, and a song has notes, which are note, which I'm not gonna define just yet. Okay. I don't know if the tuning is an enum or not. Um, yeah, this is where I'm getting twisted without even not independent of any UI or anything, but like the tuning. I mean, it's kind of like for every string, what note is it tuned to, and that's that really is. That really is not. I don't think the notes depend on the tuning exactly. The numbering, the tablature of the notes depends on the tuning, and it also depends on the key. And tuning and key are somewhat related, but they're not perfectly related. Yeah, we mostly can, but um, if again with the dulcimer and the scheitholt, they had this diatonic thing. So if I go into a different tuning, I might not have the right notes together. Okay, so if I'm in, well, let's see, how can I make this? Okay, if I'm in D A D, that's basically the key of D. So the the first note of the scale is D. The second D, E, F sharp is the third. G, A is the fifth. So the D and the A form the outer notes of a D chord, and then this first note is D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, C sharp, G, D. I've got the three half steps together there because people put this extra fret in. Um, and but if I tuned it to D, A, C, okay, I have a C here, but I don't have a C sharp anymore. Whereas in the D tuning, I had a C sharp up here. Now I've got C, and it's a long step up to D. There's no C sharp in there. So if I pick a different tuning, I might not have the notes to play it with. This is for dulcimer only because of the diatonic fretboard, or semi-diatonic, or mostly diatonic. The tuning can interact with the frets to say what notes are even available in this. In a normal tuning DAD, I never have a B flat available. It's just the way it goes. Yeah, you get a different scale, and it's just, it's messy. A friend of mine said it's like solving Sudoku to try and figure out, if I put it in this tuning, can I get the right scale? If I go jump over to a different set of notes or something, But my representation, unfortunately, like if I go back to like what's this look like? This is my guess at my hammered, but I'm gonna have another song, Whiskey Before Breakfast. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, whatever it is. I want this list to pop out like that. I need to know that they're all in DAD. I'll just make a DAD section. The tunings are not, well, I mean, you sort of have 7x7x7 available tunings. Many of them not used. The scale for the different tunings. Within a tuning, the scale is constant. I guess I could say that. I mean, okay, so if I just start with this sort of matches what I need for mountain dulcimers now, but I think it's kind of ignorant of the meaning of the notes and so on, and so it would come out very bizarre. Like, I'm not sure you could get, what am I saying? I guess I'm saying you're kind of restricting yourself. I don't know how to say what I'm saying. I guess I'm saying if I had these three things, that looks good for the generic form of this, but it kind of ignores like what key is the song in, and it ignores the fact that hammer dulcimers don't want to know about tuning because that's a mountain dulcimer thing. I could probably get this going like this first and then try and evolve it. Tuning defines scale and existing chords. Yeah. So in effect, if I've chosen, well, let me go back to a mountain dulcimer picture now. If I've chosen a tuning, I've chosen the three notes each string starts on, then the structure of the frets determines what notes are available from that tuning. And same thing for the chords. I mean, if certain notes aren't available, you can't build a chord with them. There are different dulcimers have different layouts. Mine's buried. Modern dulcimers, meaning like in the last 20 years, almost always have this extra 6.5 fret that if you went by the piano keyboard, like a C major scale, it's C to D is, you could hit C sharp D. So it's 2 half steps. D to E is 2 half steps. Then it's a, which is a whole step. Then it's a half step from E to F, and then F to G is a whole step, and then A to B should be a whole step, but now we have A sharp B. If it was started on C, I don't know. I'm bouncing around too much. But anyway, this dulcimer has that middle step there. My one of my I have a chromatic dulcimer which has all of them, and I have another dulcimer that has a 6.5, and it also has a 1.5, which is probably the second most common half note added into these things. And so with a 1.5, if I'm in D here, I can go to E. I can also get to F, and on this string it's a B flat and then an F on the bass string. I don't have Fs and B flats, by default. But most of the songs people play don't worry about 1.5 notes. They might have 6.5s. It's more common now, though, I will say, so it might be an issue. But I mean, I think that the thing going in my head is the real interesting, I'm just going to leave everything strings just so I can get through this. This is probably one where I'm going to have to sleep on it to make any progress. Tuning is a dulcimer thing. I don't think it belongs in the song. So if I said, you have this song, here's its name, it's in the key of C. We also deal with modes. So let's say C major. And here are the notes of the song. C, C, G, G, A, A, G. Okay. Yeah, I think that's what I have to do is pull out the song from the dulcimer stuff. Okay, so I think I'm going to pull tuning out. And I think if you have this and you just said, I have this database of songs. Oh, well, what do I got? I have a book that's called First 50 Songs. It's kind of 50 songs you might want to learn the dulcimer, mostly kind of pop, rock kind of stuff. Take Me Home, Country Roads, This Little Light of Mine, Time in a Bottle, Desperado by the Eagles, Cats in the Cradle. So I would call it 70s rock, maybe 80s rock. You could take those songs and you would have, they're all copyrighted, so there's probably some limits there, but you have equivalents for old time songs that are not copyrighted anymore. And those songs have a key, they have notes, they have a name. That's actually right. Okay, now what do I show for the dulcimer people? Well, they need to know the tuning, and they need to see the notes as tab instead of as regular notes. Okay, I don't know if this is, yeah. Okay, I think to Eric's point, maybe I just let it be what it is for dulcimer, and then for mountain, and then pull it out, separate it when we get to hammered. Okay, let's do it that way. That's an approach. More rock, less talk. Okay, and then I think the other thing in there, I'm going to say tab, and this is really for mountain dulcimer, is I'm kind of feeling my way through these types. And I do this because I know tab is its own thing. It's little numbers, but like I have 6.5 or 6 plus, it gets written sometimes. And so I'm going to make it string just so I can get the shape of the entity together here. These are the ones I think are core. These are relevant to mountain dulcimer. So I'm going to start it like this. And then we'll turn up the abstraction level to make these, like this will have to become a tab. I don't know, tab note, maybe. That can represent 6.5. Okay, because it's a little weird. And maybe it knows relationships too. Okay. Let's put in some tests. Okay. Oh. Let me take that out. Okay, let's do a test. Use John Reed's template. And let's start with, I guess we'll start with a song. Okay. Now, I think the transformation. Oh no, what do I want? Okay, I'm gonna take out these two. I'm going backwards. uh, let's just do the dulcimer thing that it needs, and then move up a level, and then we'll move back down. Okay, so if I create a song with all this stuff in it, I don't know, is there anything interesting for that? You put in the stuff, there it is. I think this is probably a let at this point. I was going to make it computed, but okay. And then I'm going to ask, if I put that stuff in, I'm just going to ask what it is. So maybe a song is not interesting at this point. All that for something not interesting, I know. But I think when you get a library of songs, right, that might be interesting. Well, who's gonna the function of it's gonna have an array of songs or a sequence or something, a set of songs, and then it's gonna display them sorted. Like, is that all there is to it for now? Okay. All right. That's almost. I guess the sorting is that's the collection. I don't know what we call that. Is a library. Yeah, exactly. And I think I'd like to know. Hmm. It it feels like it will be interesting, but it's not in terms of just getting this library going. Okay, so even though I have that test, I'm going to add another test. Okay. And so if I put in some songs, I guess I'm going to have to um, a library knows songs in alphabetic order. Okay. So name is beta. Alpha. Okay. And I think name you gotta have tuning. I'm just gonna hard code for the moment, and this is empty. Okay, so create a song, pass the list in. We expect library.contents in alphabetic order. Map to name is alpha beta. Okay, so this doesn't exist yet. Is that not a... Oh, I guess he can't know it. He might be able to... I can't tell anymore when it suggests things. It's the AI suggesting it, or if it's a legitimate thing, you know, because the AI likes to kind of make up stuff. All right, but now I've assumed this constant alphabetic. All right, let's put this enum in here too. Library order, case alphabetic. Okay, so contents. So we need a constructor. Initializer, I guess it's say songs is array of song. And we have a contents. And it yields an array of song. Okay. Good. So it does infer the song.name, and this test should fail. Finally, a failing test. We hope. Now, I definitely don't need DPN tests with example anymore. But let's see it all first. I don't know what this clone 1 stuff is. Oh, is that helpful? We lost our... I guess that's why it's a clone. Okay. This failed. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely deleting DPN tests. I really should delete song tests too, because we don't have a song. I don't think we have anything to test there yet. We will, but we don't. Can't tell if the purple text is visible or not. I missed purple text. Okay. He came back empty, and he should be alpha beta. All right. So no surprise, the library's going to keep let songs be array of song. self.songs equals songs. And then I guess switch order case.alphabetic. Return songs dot sorted. Okay, so we're given the two things. We have to tell what order they're in. I think I can just say, oh no, I can't. Slash dot name versus $0 dot name. They're totally unrelated. And I'm not super expert, but this backslash thing is sort of it's kind of a way to name a field's contents as a function almost. So backslash dot name here stands in for the function that fetches the name field out of the object. So I guess in that sense it's sort of like $0, but $0, $0 and $1 are just the parameters. So I could say A, B, in A dot name, B dot name. That would be equivalent to $0 dot name, $1 dot name. So when you're given a list of arguments in a closure, you can use these kind of implicit names with the $0s and $1s. And I think it's nice enough. I don't find myself getting confused too much. The backslash thing, that's a little more confusing, but it's sort of, I could say like song.name. It's more like the name of the field as a function, or as a callable entity. You see it also in, when you're doing for eaches and you want to say like ID : backslash dot name means sort, use the name as the identifier. So it is kind of used differently in different places. They're both related that they're the name of the field, but this one's almost like the name of the field as an entity in the class, as opposed to the name of the field for a particular object. Okay, I think this will pass, which is good because we're out of time. All right, and I kind of leaped ahead a little by saying I got to have this library order, but I know it's what I want, and I think our next test will pick up there. Okay, are you going to pass first? Okay, good. All right. So I'll check that in offline, but I'll be back tomorrow, 2 to 4:30 Eastern Time or 7 to 9:30 p.m. UTC. And we will definitely pick up on this. Thanks for several of you that spoke up during this meander here, trying to make sense of things. I think we're getting moving, and that's the big thing. And then we can get fancy about the real nature of a song is keys and notes and not tunings and tabs. And dulcimers care about tunings, and mountains care about tunings and tabs, and hammers don't. All right. Well, have a good evening. Thank you as well, and good night.